The year is 1997. The internet is a digital Wild West, a promised land for dreamers and builders. And Reid Hoffman had just launched a spectacular failure. It was called https://www.google.com/search?Q=socialnet.com. Sound familiar? It was one of the world's first social networks. It had profiles. It had groups. It even had dating. On paper, it was Facebook, LinkedIn, and Tinder rolled into one, long before those names even existed. And it failed. Miserably. Not a quiet flameout, but a full-blown collapse. A ghost town of digital profiles. A silent testament to an idea that was either ahead of its time or perhaps just fundamentally executed wrong. Most people, after being burned in the public flames of a failure like that, would never touch the social networking space again. They'd write it off as an expensive lesson and move on to something safer. So, the question we must face today isn't just a how. It's a deeper one. A question that challenges the very core of success. How does a man who fails at building a digital community go on to create the definitive professional network for the entire planet? And what if I told you the secret to connecting 850 million people wasn't about code, but about a philosophy forged in the wreckage of that forgotten failure? Hold that question. We'll come back to it. You know the name Reid Hoffman. He's the co-founder of LinkedIn, the platform that permanently changed how we view careers, connections, and opportunities. He's a legendary Silicon Valley investor, one of the first to bet on Facebook, Airbnb, and a dozen other companies that have shaped our modern world. His net worth is measured in the billions. On the surface, he is the very picture of linear success. But that's a boring story. And it's not the true one. The real story is far more compelling. It isn't about building a product. It's about building a life. It isn't about algorithms. It's about people. Our big question about Reid Hoffman isn't, how did he build LinkedIn? The real question is, what did Reid Hoffman see about human nature that everyone else was missing, that allowed him to turn his greatest failure into the foundation for his greatest success? The answer isn't in a business textbook or a university lecture. It's at a dinner party. It's in a unique mindset, an abundance mindset, that sees the world not as a finite pie to be fought over, but as an infinite network waiting to be woven. Let's go back to 1999. SocialNet is dying. Imagine that feeling. Reid, an Oxford-trained philosopher, a deep believer in the connective power of humanity, is staring at his creation, a tool designed to bring people together, and all he sees is emptiness. The silence of empty servers is louder than any scream. It's the loneliness of the founder, a specific kind of isolation where you've built a room for a massive party, but no one has come. The cost wasn't just money. It was belief. It was confidence in his own understanding of people. His specific wrong decision at that moment? It was believing a myth. A myth that has poisoned countless entrepreneurs. The myth that says, if you build it, they will come. He had built a tool. A good tool. But he had forgotten a fundamental truth. People don't seek tools. They seek other people. They crave belonging, recognition, and trust. A website cannot generate those things out of thin air. And this is where we must identify Reid's true enemy in this story. The enemy wasn't a competitor. It wasn't the market. The enemy was something far more insidious and invisible. Let's call it the lure of the empty box. The empty box is the belief that a platform, a product, a technology has value in and of itself. It's a beautiful, shiny box with all the right features. Reid had poured his soul into building the perfect box, but he learned, painfully, that nobody cares about an empty box. The value isn't the box, it's what people bring to fill it. SocialNet failed because it was just an empty box, and Reid was asking the world to fill it for him. It was too big of an ask. This failure required a supreme level of emotional discipline to overcome. To not let the shame consume you. To stay hard when everything is falling apart. This is where real self-development begins, not in a book, but in the ashes of your best efforts. So, what's the lesson here? Conventional logic would say, build a better product next time. Focus on product market fit. Do better marketing. But the lesson Reid learned was counterintuitive and far more profound. Here it is. The product is the last thing you build. Let me repeat that. The product is the last thing you build. Before you write a line of code, before you design a logo, before you rent an office, you must build something else first. The network. Not a network of users. A network of real, living, breathing human beings who trust you, who share your vision, who you have already provided value to. SocialNet failed because it tried to create a network from scratch. LinkedIn succeeded because it was the digital reflection of a network Reid Hoffman had already spent his life building. One dinner party, one conversation, one introduction at a time. He didn't fight the lure of the empty box again. Instead, he showed up with a box that was already half full. Now, let's leave the wreckage of 1999. Let's go back even further, to a place with no computers, no high-speed internet, just a dinner table. This is the true origin. Long before SocialNet or LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman had a habit. He would host dinner parties. But these weren't typical social gatherings. He had a rule. He would invite people he thought should meet each other. People from completely different worlds who might create a spark if they connected. A poet and a programmer. A biologist and a venture capitalist. He wasn't doing this for his own gain. He did it because he was fascinated by the idea of networks. This is the core of his philosophy. Every individual is an intelligent network node. Think about that. You are not just one person. You are a gateway to hundreds, even thousands, of other people. Your value lies not just in what you know, but in who you know, and how you can connect them. When Reid introduced two friends at a dinner party, he wasn't just making friends. He was weaving a tapestry. He was strengthening the ecosystem. He was practicing a form of wealth creation that had nothing to do with money. It was a wealth of relationships and trust. This was truly purpose-driven. But now, let's apply the flaw spotlight method. To make him real, what's the potential downside of seeing everyone as a network node? Here's his subtle flaw. The strategist's burden. It's the inability to turn off the analytical part of the brain. Even in the most casual moments, a part of him is still calculating potential connections, possible pathways. It can make it difficult to simply enjoy a relationship for its own sake, with no agenda. It can make him seem distant or calculating, even when his intentions are purely generous. It's a reminder that even our greatest strengths cast a shadow. It shows that our healing journey and personal development are never truly over, no matter how successful we become. We must always focus on yourself and grow. So how do we, who are not Silicon Valley billionaires, apply this powerful philosophy? We can't let this be an abstraction. We need a formula, something tangible. Let's call it the double connector rule. It's incredibly simple. Step 1. Once a week, think of two people you know who don't know each other, but who you believe would benefit from meeting. Not for your benefit, for theirs. Step 2. Write a short introductory email. Hey, name A. I'd love for you to meet name B. A, you're working on cool project X, and B has expertise in related field Y. I think you two would have a fantastic conversation. I'll let you two take it from here. Step 3. Hit send. And expect nothing in return. That's it. That's the practice. It's a small act of giving value with no strings attached. This is the daily discipline of network building. It's not about collecting contacts. It's about creating meaningful connections. It reinforces your abundance mindset. By giving your connections away, you realize how rich your network truly is. This is a true motivational act, a small thing that can change the trajectory of your career and your life. So now, let's return to our original question. Back to the smoking crater of SocialNet. How does a man who fails at building a digital community go on to create the definitive professional network for the planet? We know the answer now. He succeeded not in spite of his failure, he succeeded because of it. SocialNet wasn't a failure. It was the most expensive and most important MBA Reid Hoffman ever earned. It taught him a lesson no school could. Community is not something you build. It's something you gather. That failure burned away the false idea that technology was the answer. It forced him back to his first truth, to his core philosophy. People. Those dinner parties, those introductions, they weren't a hobby. They were the real work. LinkedIn was simply putting a software layer on top of a network he had already built by hand, with generosity and strategic thinking, for years. The final message here, for all of us, isn't go build the next LinkedIn. It's deeper. Your life, right now, is a network. The people you love, the colleagues you respect, the barista who knows your name, the neighbor you wave to. That is your true wealth. And nurturing that network, strengthening it with small, generous acts of connection, is the most important work you will ever do. It is the path to inner peace, to an acceptance that life is not a series of individual achievements, but a tapestry woven from our shared connections. Be grateful for that. Continue your journey of self-development with a relentless study motivation. Sometimes, you have to stay hard and maintain your discipline, but this philosophy will guide you. So, build your life as a network, long before you ever think about building your next product. I'm the 500 Millionaire Blueprint. Thank you for listening. And now, it's your turn. What's your story? What failure taught you your greatest lesson? Share it in the comments below. Our stories are how we connect, and if today's story resonated with you, subscribe to the channel so we can continue to explore these unconventional paths to success together. Until next time, keep connecting.